Metropolitan's baseball media broke over the last couple of days as star pitcher Roki Sasaki is being posted by his NPB team, the Chiba Lotte Marines, for next season. But what happens is a frenzy we haven't quite seen as potentially all 30 teams can sign him. Where do the Mets stack up? How do we fit in this whole Sasaki sweepstakes? We're going to talk about this on this special edition of Mets Digest. What's going on, everybody? Flobo Boyce here. Just my mind is blowing. We didn't think that Sasaki was going to be posted. There was going to be some hope around it. But yes, it's going to be a situation where a player on the youth and skill level, Sasaki's level, is going to be in MLB next year. We're going to break that all down. But before we get into the whole nitty gritty of everything, if you haven't already, do me a solid and hit that like, hit that subscribe, share the video, share the channel. We are Mets Digest. We break everything down for all the fans of the orange and blue. This is major news because, to be honest with you, it really was the youth of Sasaki in the first place. You see, he is young. He's not even 25 years old, less than that, which means he's an international player that could be able to be classified into international player pool. And we'll get to why that's important in quite a second. But the idea of someone this accomplished and, can I say, WBC champion. Remember, Japan won the last World Baseball Classic in 2023. Being able to come to the major leagues so young is major. We haven't really seen that since the days of Ohtani. Ohtani took a younger deal to put some more years in the MLB on the younger side of his career and got paid massively with that Dodgers contract. This is the opposite of the Yoshinobu Yamamoto sweepstakes we saw last season, where Yoshinobu Yamamoto was basically an adult free agent. It was able to get a number that was more in line of what he wanted. Remember, the Dodgers paid him north of $300 million, with his posting team, the Oryx Buffaloes, getting $50 million on top of that. So what happens with the international pool, which is where Sasaki falls under because he is so young, there is a finite number that each team is allowed to spend on international free agents. Typically, you'll get free agents from the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico, Venezuela, or other countries as well. And so in this case, it's what they use to sign those international superstars at 15, 16, 17 years old. And the thing about that is, because there is a cap and every team has a cap, you're not going to have a giant free agent contract. And we'll get to some numbers in quite a second. But the idea is you never get someone on that level of that accomplishment of Sasaki being able to be eligible for that pool, which means 30 teams can play. This note comes from Sean Spradling. I mean, Sasaki is an absolute stud, and it's going to show that time and time again. So let's talk about the options, right? Before we get to the Mets prospects of it all, the Dodger blue elephant in the room is Los Angeles. They're a team that seems to be the front runner. They have the financial cap to actually sign the highest deal for Sasaki, if that would be the case. And also, there is the branding of how the Dodgers have basically opened themselves up to the Japanese market. Dave Roberts, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, we mentioned before, and Shohei Ohtani call the Dodgers home. So the idea of the Dodgers being the frontrunner is something that's been spilled a lot on baseball media, and it's to be expected. People love to align themselves with winners. The Dodgers are the current world champions. But because of the international player pool, which is usually a pool that's reserved for younger players who are under the age of 18 or 18, 19, 20 years old, with all 30 teams being able to at least have an opportunity to put a bid in, where does Sasaki want to go? Where will he end up? And so there's an article that came out from The Athletic that talks about this in particular. Shout out to Stephen J. Nesbitt over at The Athletic. He says, but the truth is, because every team's financial offer will essentially be equal, there is no way to compile a list of favorites without first knowing Sasaki's preferences. Maybe he'd rather not be in Ohtani and Yamamoto's wake in Los Angeles. Maybe he wants to pitch with his pal Yu Darvish in San Diego. Maybe he wants to be an ace in a small pond. Yeah, that's right. Sasaki in Colorado confirmed, baby. Maybe he wants to be on the East Coast or South Beach or Sacramento. I just came from Sacramento. No one wants to be in Sacramento. I'm just kidding, West Sacramento. You're cool. Maybe he saw Rookie of the Year and always dreamed of pitching for the Chicago Cubs. Now, the Dodgers have a lot of Japanese goodwill now, but yes, the Chicago Cubs is a strong brand in the Far East. That's where Shota Imanaga decided to pitch for last season. So preferences are super important, but it's not just preferences at all. It also comes down to money. Because the money comes from the international pool, and we're at the end of the 2024 international pool signing period, not many teams have a lot of cash available to sign Sasaki. The pool replenishes or starts over on January 15th of next year. So if I was Sasaki and I really wanted to play for a team, I don't really care about how much money is left for me, I would post myself now in December and sign after January 15th. But as it stands right now, the Mets don't really have a lot of cash at hand to really make a deal before the beginning of the year, which I do think anyone would wait to get the best offer or the best more teams in play, but we don't know what Sasaki's preferences are. If he wants to sign with the Dodgers, he doesn't have to wait. This comes from Michael Barron, who covers the Mets on his Substack called Just Mets. I actually am a fan of his reporting. Been covering the team for over a decade, and he actually talks about this in particular. He says, still, the Dodgers have the most amount of money available for international free agents during this period, 2024, with about $2.5 million according to MLB.com, whereas the Mets have only $314,000 left. Remember, this is the year, still the calendar year 2024, where we had a class of international free agents we signed, like Vladimir Miguel Guerrero, the half-brother of Toronto Blue Jays star Vlad Guerrero Jr. While teams can always trade for up to 60% of their allocated pool money, and the allotment will reset in January for all clubs, the Mets were once again expected to spend heavily and had likely already committed to players in international free agency during the upcoming period before Sasaki was posted. Of course, you didn't want to sit around and wait and be inactive because Sasaki tried to be posted last year and was denied. So that said, if it's a situation where Sasaki wants to listen to all 30 teams and wait till next year, he has an option. But if the Dodgers truly are the favorites to sign Sasaki, he doesn't have to wait, and they have the most international free agent money available. So the idea of him coming to New York is great, and I'm not going to say the odds are zero, but there is a bit of a hill to climb if New York wants to be that team to bring him home. And even though having the Dodgers brand is great for the player, I'm not sure I would think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? I can be hard to root for the Dodgers if you're getting all these breaks. This is from MLB.com. It really goes into the depth of what the top 5 teams with as far as the money available in the 2024 period, with the Dodgers, Orioles, and Yankees up top, followed by the Giants and Red Sox. And frankly, all those teams are good brands. I mean, I think the Orioles are the youngest of the 5 of those, but still, they are good brands to go to. Baltimore has a very nice youthful core. Dodgers have the goodwill in Japan. The Yankees are a legacy brand. The Giants have a brand that works on both sides of the Pacific, and the Red Sox is another one of those old-time rivals. Again, the last paragraph on that image talks about how the money does reset in 2025. If, let's say, in all honesty, if Sasaki's like, you know what, I want to sign with the Houston Astros for whatever reason, he would probably wait till after January 15th when that money resets to get the biggest deal. That said, amazing. The fact that someone like that is even on the board. When we talk about the Mets and what we had to do as far as an organization, I mean, winning games is always is always the deal. But there was always an idea about the culture, right? What do we want to tell players and teams about? And I think the 2024 Mets, Grimace aside, Hawk Tuah girl aside, Glizzy Iggy aside, now has a culture that is different. In addition to Steve Cohen's big pockets, that can actually be an attractive package, right? Like for so long, we were just the second team in New York, but now I do think we have an established identity, which would help in negotiations if you were to say, hey, look, you want to have access to the biggest city in the United States, you want to have an owner that can hit you up with the best equipment, the nebulous hidden pitching lab, whatever have you, and there is a little bit of our fan base that are embracing the Japanese side of our fan base and culture, even though our roster only features currently Kodai Senga. There is all of that too if there was going to be some sort of pitch package presented to Sasaki. So I don't think we're completely out, but I do think it's a money issue, and the Dodgers do have a considerable lead in front of us. That said, though, I understand you're watching this going, yeah, well, we need aces like Corbin Burns, and we need Blake Snell, and we need hitters and boppers like Robert Jr. and Juan Soto. I get that. But would you perhaps would love to make that push? If you had a chance to push and allocate people of your theoretical front office to Sasaki, would you dedicate staff right now? Is he someone that you would make a push for? Not saying, yeah, put your bid in and watch and wait, but I'm saying, would you make a push for Sasaki to be a Met if you were in the front office? You let me know in the comments below. This is huge news for not only the Mets, not only for baseball, but definitely the relationship of Major League Baseball and the MPB. You let me know in the comments below. I am ecstatic of what this means in 2025. This is probably already a Rookie of the Year already locked in, to be honest with you. That does it for me, man. You let me know. My name is Flobo Boyce. I am going to get out of here, but of course, as always, is LGM to the bitter end.